Conservative new media viewers, we just saw Donald J. Trump, the 45th President of the United States, give his inaugural speech and saw him being sworn into the office of the presidency. Concluded just about 10-15 minutes ago, and we're here to give you a reaction to the ceremonies overall and to the speech in particular. The ceremonies look great. You have to admire the dignity and grace that was displayed, I felt, by former President Obama and by his wife Michelle. It was a little bit rainy, a little overcast there in DC today, but everything seemed to be handled very well and with a lot of class, and just handled the way that you would want it to be handled. Now let's talk about the speech in particular, because of course this is going to be the thing which everybody is focusing on today. I took away three main things from the speech. Number one, Donald Trump is not a professional speaker. So we didn't hear the rhetorical flourishes of President Obama or of other earlier presidents such as John F. Kennedy, even President Reagan. Donald Trump is a doer, not a talker. So he's not particularly focused on how good does he sound. Of course, there's the Trump brand, and he wants to come off great, and you're fired and all that stuff, but Donald isn't necessarily somebody you're going to hire to give the greatest speech of all time. That being said, I still thought that it was a well-constructed speech, and the speech accomplished what Donald Trump wanted to accomplish, and that's two other main things. Number one, he reiterated the themes from the campaign, particularly the concept of populism. Populism meaning appealing to the larger majority of people, kind of in contrast to those at the top, the elites, the ruling elites, the Washington insiders, whatever you want to call them. And what President Trump said was, look, for too long there have been a group of people, and it's a small group of people, who have been profiting and doing well, while the great number of people throughout this nation have not been sharing in that success. If you're familiar with economics, you're familiar with economic graphs from the last 20-25 years, things like real net income, you know that this is true, and it was true for Republican presidents like President W. Bush, as well as for President Obama. This is not a party problem, it's a systemic problem. And so President Trump is correct in calling that out, and we do certainly hope that that can begin to be reversed now. Another thing that he spoke about today was he talked about how there is no room for prejudice in patriotism, and that we all of us of all different skin hues all bleed the same red American blood. I thought that was really good. I thought that was very important. It's time for the nation to start to heal and come together rather than remain divisive, regardless of who you voted for or what was said in the campaign. Many things get said in the campaign. Unfortunately, if you've been around politics long enough, and myself and John have been around politics quite a while, there's plenty that's said that's never acted upon, or that's said for effect. Did Donald Trump engage in that? Sure he did. Did Hillary Clinton engage in that? Of course she did. That's what politicians do. That's what campaigns are. But now that the American people have made their choice, it is time to start to come together and succeed as a nation. And so the third thing I want to say about what President Trump talked about in his speech was unity, was America first. There was kind of a question among the pundits, will Donald Trump stay with his campaign themes, or will this kind of be like, okay, now I'm in office, now I'm just kind of go along to get along? Well, obviously he didn't do that with the populism talk, which he basically singled out politicians and said that this is going to stop and now the power's back to the people. But he also was saying the same type of thing with America first. For years, for decades now, we've heard, of course, about the United Nations and global efforts and globalism and this and that. But Trump's speech was very much focused on what do we need to do for America to be what she can be, to reach her full potential, to put American workers first, to put American citizens first, to put America's interest first. That is not something that you heard a tremendous amount about in the last decade. And like I said, to be fair to President Obama, it wasn't necessarily what you heard a lot the 8 years before President Obama was in office either. So that's what happened today with Donald Trump's inauguration speech. I thought that it was overall very successful, even though, given the caveat that Donald Trump is not necessarily the greatest speaker who ever lived. He certainly isn't at the level rhetorically of a Barack Obama, who is a fantastic speech maker. Whether he's whoever wrote the speeches, and if you're using a teleprompter or not using a teleprompter, you got to give credit where it's due. President Barack Obama is an incredible speech giver, and Donald J. Trump does not share that level of acumen as a speech maker. But he got his points across. He is now officially the President of the United States, the 45th President, and that's what we want to talk to you. What did you think about what happened today? Were you happy with the speech? You tell us in the comments below. Thanks again for watching Conservative New Media. I am Paul F. Villarreal, aka PFE. We'll be here talking to you more as Donald Trump's administration rolls on.